On a desolate road in 1961, Betty and Barney Hill's quiet drive home turned into one of the most infamous alien abduction cases in history. But was it truly extraterrestrial contact, or something far more complex? Their story blurs the line between reality, psychology, and conspiracy. The rhythmic hum of tires on pavement filled the silence between Betty and Barney Hill. The couple, exhausted from their spontaneous trip to Niagara Falls, drove through the darkened New Hampshire countryside, the moon casting long shadows across the road. The night was eerily quiet, too quiet. Barney gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles pale. "We should have stayed the night somewhere," he muttered. Betty glanced at the clock. "Almost midnight. We'll be fine. Just a few more hours." Then, out of nowhere, a light. Not just a light, a presence. It hovered above the treetops, moving erratically, darting one way, then another. Betty leaned forward, peering through the windshield. "Do you see that?" she asked, her voice hushed with a mix of awe and fear. Barney followed her gaze. The object was unlike any aircraft he had ever seen, and as a former Army veteran, he prided himself on recognizing planes. This wasn't a plane. It was silent. And it was watching them. Heart pounding, Barney pulled the car over. He grabbed his binoculars, stepping out into the crisp night air. Betty remained in the car, paralyzed by an overwhelming sense of foreboding. Through the lenses, Barney saw figures. Humanoid shapes. Large eyes peering down at him from inside the craft. Then, a voice. Not one that he heard with his ears, but one that vibrated inside his skull. "Stay where you are." Barney stumbled backward, the binoculars slipping from his hands. He sprinted back to the car. "They're coming," he shouted, slamming the door shut. Betty barely had time to react before an overwhelming force pressed down on them. A deafening hum filled their minds. The world blurred, like a film reel melting in a projector. Then, silence. When they opened their eyes, they were still in the car. But something was wrong. The engine was off. The road was empty. The light was gone. The clock read 3 a.m. Barney's hands trembled as he started the car. "How did we lose 2 hours?" Betty clutched her stomach. Her dress was torn at the hem. A strange, metallic taste coated her tongue. They drove home in stunned silence, but the questions lingered. Why did Barney feel an inexplicable terror deep in his gut? Why did Betty wake up days later with vivid dreams of strange beings probing her mind? Why were there pinkish, circular stains on her dress that no scientist could explain? The hypnosis sessions weeks later, plagued by nightmares, the Hills sought answers through hypnosis. What emerged was a chilling revelation. Betty described cold, luminescent-skinned beings with oversized eyes. Barney recounted how they were taken aboard a metallic craft, examined under blinding lights, and subjected to unknown procedures. A map was shown to Betty, an unfamiliar star system. Years later, astronomers would claim it matched the Zeta Reticuli binary system, a star cluster unknown to the public at the time of her account. Yet doubts lingered. Could hypnosis have created false memories? Hypnotic regression was a controversial tool, and psychologists warned that suggestibility could implant fabricated recollections. Betty had begun having vivid dreams of the abduction before hypnosis. Could those dreams have shaped their recovered memories? Were the aliens merely echoes of popular science fiction? Just weeks before Barney's hypnotic regression, an episode of The Outer Limits featured an alien with large, wraparound eyes, eerily similar to his description. Skeptics dismissed the story as a hallucination, a trick of memory and suggestion. Some theorized that Cold War psychological experiments had been conducted on them. Others believed they had glimpsed into something far greater, an intelligence not of this earth. But beneath the strangeness of the encounter was another reality. The Hills were an interracial couple in 1961 America, a time when their very existence challenged societal norms. Barney, a black man in a predominantly white society, had endured systemic racism, microaggressions, and the looming pressure of constant scrutiny. Betty, a white woman married to him, understood the unspoken tension that followed them everywhere. Could their abduction story have been shaped, in part, by subconscious fears of being watched, judged, and controlled? Barney's hypnosis sessions revealed a terror deeper than just the unknown. His descriptions of the beings, uniformed and staring at him with authority, bore eerie similarities to real-life encounters with racial oppression. The fear of being taken, examined, and powerless in the face of an unknown force was not just science fiction, it was a reality many Black Americans knew all too well. The Hills never wavered in their belief something had happened to them on that lonely road. And as the years passed, their story became legend, a whispered warning from the stars, reminding all who listen that some truths are too strange to be ignored.